Know thyself. Socrates. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Socrates. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Marcus Aurelius. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Seneca. It is not that things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that things are difficult. Seneca. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Seneca. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Heraclitus. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. The mind is everything, what you think, you become. Buddha. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Aristotle. We are not given a good life or a bad life. We are given a life. It's up to us to make it good or bad. Aristotle. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Aristotle. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Aristotle. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Plato. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. Plato. Knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Plato. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Plato. At the touch of love everyone becomes a poet. Plato. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Plato. An honest man is always a child. Socrates. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Socrates. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. Plato. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. Plato. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. Aristotle. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Aristotle. To avoid criticism, say nothing. Do nothing, be nothing. Aristotle. All men by nature desire knowledge. Aristotle. We must be the change we wish to see in the world. Aristotle. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Zeno of Citium. Practice self-control in all things. The unexamined life is not worth living. The best way to predict the future is to create it. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. Nothing is permanent except change. Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. Time is a created thing. To say, "I don't have time," is like saying, "I don't want to." It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow, it only saps today of its joy. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. There is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. I cannot teach anybody anything, I can only make them think. The mind is everything, what you think, you become. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. We must not say every mistake is a foolish one. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. A man's character is his fate. Change in all things is sweet. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Excellence is a habit, not an act. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Not what we have, but what we enjoy, constitutes our abundance. Only the educated are free. To be wronged is nothing unless you remember it. Epictetus. Everything flows and nothing stays. Heraclitus. Men create gods in their own image. Xenophanes. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates.